Well, hello, Glowbies. I am out and about and meeting just the most interesting rather, and amazing people. I am doing my own camera work again, so do bear with me. But as you can see, I'm out in the desert in Quartzsite. And today I have a story that I want to bring you and a person that I want to introduce you to that I think is going to be a very compelling and heart-gripping story, and it's just, excuse me, a story of a life that went from pain really to glory and just living their most authentic life. So I'm going to quit talking now, and I'm going to share with you this fabulous person that I've met out here in Quartzsite. I am going to introduce you now to Rady, and Rady has a YouTube channel by the name of Traveling with the Graham Cracker, and I would encourage all of you to go over and look at Rady's channel. Rady, can you tell me how old you are?
I am 64. I just turned 64 last month.
That's right, I actually attended your birthday bash. Can you tell me a little bit about how long you've been on the road?
I left what I called home December 17th, 2015. So, again, last month makes it 5 years.
And did you leave because of financial reasons? You were forced out? You didn't have enough money to stay in the sticks and bricks? What was the reason that you decided to go on the road?
Well, I've always been a traveler my whole life. I've moved a lot, and I've traveled in other RVs at other stages in my life, and I've done some bicycle tours. So camping was, interesting to me. Outdoor life is interesting to me. But in 2011, my mom passed away, and for the previous, I guess, 3 or 4 years before she died, she just sat in her house and stared out the window, and she always liked traveling. She was from Bermuda and just loved to go places. And I saw that, and I was in a wheelchair myself. I was not walking, and was just stuck at home, and it was getting worse and worse. And I thought, I can't do this anymore. And I had been watching tiny house videos online, and I came across Eric of Nomadic Fanatic, and he's a young guy, and he reminds me of my grandkids. And I'm like, if he can do this full time, I know I can do this full time. Well, when I initially thought about traveling, I decided to go on what everybody calls, I don't know, I called it the 3-year plan, to get everything together, get things in order, because I owned my own home. I had a brand new home that was built in 2008, and I was living there, and I had a dog business, and the grandson was living with me, so there was a lot of things to take care of, and I figured it was going to take a while. He had 3 years left to go in high school, so I thought, okay, I'll do the 3-year plan. However, I went to church on the following Sunday, and a friend of mine gave me a scripture verse and said that I was supposed to read that, and she didn't know what it was. She had just gotten it in her head and gotten a word from the Lord that I needed to read this scripture verse. So I got home and I looked it up, and I think it was in Deuteronomy, and I'm not positive of where, but it basically said, leave the city and camp. And that was all I needed to know, because I live my life following Christ, and I've always followed what he says to do to me, and it's usually confirmation, and that was a confirmation for me to go and camp. So I knew I was doing the right thing. So I called my grandson's mom, and I asked her if she was ready to have him home with her, and she was ready. And so he moved back home, and we dissolved the dog training business, which was for service dogs, and sold my house. All this was done in less than a month. It was record time. And I purchased my new Class B motorhome, and I hit the road. I didn't know where I was going. So the first place I wanted to go was a bicycle shop in Wisconsin. I always wanted to go to this bike shop, so that's where I went. And it's in the middle of December, it's snowing and it's cold, and now I'm like, okay, now where? So first year, as most nomads, you go visit family and friends that you haven't seen in years and years. So I just traveled the country and came as far as Arkansas, and then got word that my oldest daughter was ill in California, so I had to make a beeline to California. And then once I did that, then the traveling really started, and I started traveling the United States. And I did that for 2 years in my current RV, and then sold it, and then bought Vinny, who I'm standing in front of, which I'm much happier with Vinny.
Something everyone may not know, I know because I met you at the very first RTR I went to in 2018, but I know you don't remember because there were so many people who you were meeting and have met since. But when I first met you, you were living life as a woman, and now you have transitioned and you're living life as a male. Can you share a little bit about that journey and how that came about?
Yes, I think I can. What the majority of people don't understand, and what they perceive, is that living as male or living as female is a choice. It's not a choice. I don't call it a birth defect because it's not really a defect either. I do call it a birth anomaly. And anomalies always happen in births. You have people that have heart issues or ADHD or autism. There's anomalies. If you have a perfect child when they're born, you have hit the lottery, because a lot of children have issues. I had one of those issues, or have one of those issues. I always felt I was a boy. I always felt I was a man growing up. I never fit in as a woman anywhere. I always felt like I was on the outside of a window looking in and couldn't touch what was going on and couldn't be a part of. I was never included in girl things because I was too boy-y. I was never included in boy things because I was a girl. So I was kind of left out in limbo land. And I never heard of the term transition and didn't know what it was. So I lived my life the best I could, living with what I had, with where I was at. But I was miserable. I was always miserable. You know, as Carol said, I had children and I have a family, so I must have had a husband, and I did. I had a husband for a grand total of 1.5 years, and that was way back in the 70s. And I tried it again one other time, and I had that husband for 2 months. So I was not really inclined to be married either. I just didn't fit. So when I got out here on the road, I met 2 wonderful women. One was a natural born woman, and the other one was a transgender woman. And they were married couple. They had been married prior to the trans woman's transition, and they stayed married. They stayed together as a couple. And I give them kudos for that, because that's a really hard situation to be in. But I learned a lot. And when we were talking, it occurred to me that this could possibly be my problem. Well, I also grew up in an evangelical Christian background, and I always, in the back of my head, had questions. Is God okay with this? Is he not okay with this? So it was like I wrestled with this for a long time. And then I read a book that a gal by the name of Lori Scott wrote, and it's called God Doesn't Make Mistakes. And she's a transgender woman, and she wrote, and the stuff she wrote in her book really hit home to me. And I realized that God doesn't make mistakes. He made me who I am. My internal person, my spirit, my soul, everything internally about me, my mind, has always been male. I've had the exterior of a female, but the interior and attributes and actions of a man. And so now with the modern technology, we can go through medical transitioning as well as social transitioning. And social meaning changing your name, if it's a feminine name, or changing how you dress. I didn't have to do all that. I was already dressing the way I always have dressed. I did change my name. I wanted something more neutral. I didn't want the feminine name I had. It was very girly. You'd think of doilies and lace when my name was mentioned. So I needed something more to fit my character. And the very first time I said my name, it was like euphoria. It was like, that's who I am. It just sunk in really deep that that's who you are. And it was like I didn't have to take any medicine or do any surgeries or anything to realize this is what I was missing my entire life.
Now
However,
I've noticed that. Excuse me for interrupting, but I've noticed that you do have facial hair, so you have had some chemical.
yeah, I was just getting into that.
Oh, okay.
I
Sorry.
have, however, gone on what they call hormone replacement therapy.
Okay.
So I have had more testosterone put into my system. Everybody on the planet has both testosterone and estrogen. It doesn't matter if you're male or female, you have both. Females have a little more estrogen, males more testosterone. I am way past the menopausal years, so my estrogen levels are super low, and my testosterone levels have always been extremely high, even when I was a kid. But now I'm on hormone replacement therapy, so I do have hormones that I take.
Okay. I wanted to ask you something, and I'm someone who doesn't know a lot about this lifestyle, and I'm sure that a lot of my viewers also. So I'm wondering, how have you been received out in the nomad community, and what do you think the difference is between the reception here and what it would have been if you were in Sticks and Bricks?
It seems to me that the people in the nomad community are out here because they want to live their life freely as well, and they're much more accepting because they want to be accepted as free individuals. In Sticks and Bricks, there's so many constraints and so many regulations and rules and society norms that you have to fit into. There's, as a trans person, it's very dangerous in the Sticks and Bricks community. And to go from one to the other and stay living in the same community is just, I mean, you lose a lot of friends. Sometimes you can lose family. Thankfully, I have not lost my children or my grandchildren. However, I don't speak with my brothers and sisters, but I haven't for years and years, so there's no difference there. But
Have you lost friends in the Sticks and Bricks community?
I have. I've lost a lot of friends in the Sticks and Bricks community. Most of my friends were revolving around church and around religious activities, and I'm no longer involved in religious activities. I now have a relationship with Jesus Christ instead of religious activities that I hang with. So a lot of that is just been removed. I would say they don't talk with me anymore.
Don't check on you to see how you're doing or
No,
anything?
I haven't heard from them in over 4 years.
What about in the nomad community? Did you lose any friends in the nomad community?
Actually, I've gained hundreds.
Wow.
Hundreds.
Wow.
At my YouTube meetup bash we had last month, we had over 100 people there.
Wow.
And they came because they wanted to hang out and meet me. I mean, that's crazy.
So you find that this is an accepting community and loving community to you?
Absolutely. So
All
people out here, they travel together. They come and go, travel with different people or travel with another group over here. It's not always the same group, but they eat together, even if they bring their own food or they have potlucks. They just have more social interaction with each other. It's how humans were meant to be. We're social creatures. We can't live in a box and never see your neighbors and don't know who they are. Out here, our neighbors, even if we don't know them, they'll still say hi back because, I don't know, things are different here. It's just way more accepting of people as a whole.
I noticed that even driving in here to do the interview with you, people were passing me by. I had never seen them, and they would just wave.
Oh, yeah.
They're just waving. I'd wave back. It kind of reminded me of when I go down south. You drive by, and people will be on their porches, and they'll just wave to you. You'll have no idea who they are. Right. And the first time was the strangest experience, but that's what happens out here, too.
Absolutely.
So once you hit the road, Rady, and now you've been on the road for 5 years, do you regret it or ever wish you could go back to Sticks and Bricks?
No, I think I'm finished with living in Sticks and Bricks. I really like being able to turn the key and go where I want to go. A lot of times I sit because I'm on a limited income. I am on Social Security. So I'm on a limited income, and I sit sometimes to save money because I'm really of the school that you should have an emergency fund. And if I don't have enough to do my 3 repairs, which a normal repair is about $1,000, and if you don't have enough to do 3 repairs, you could be stuck somewhere. So that I make sure I do. The only real regret I have is jumping into the motorhome that I bought. I didn't really think that I didn't know that I could do it in a minivan, do this life in a minivan. I would have hated living in a minivan, but I owned one and I could have done it. The RV was expensive and it was costly, a big payment, and there was repairs. It was a new RV. It was a 2007, but there's still repairs on these RVs and these motorhomes. I'm a builder, so I was really excited when I got Vinny here because I can build, and I built him out the way I wanted him, and that means I can fix what's in here. Not everybody's a builder, but I'm lucky that I am, and so that's cool. But as far as going back to sticks and bricks, no. If you have watched my channel, and some of you have, I have recently bought a piece of land, and no, I'm not going to make that into a sticks and bricks or a permanent place to stay. But for an emergency stopover, a couple times a year, it's nice to have a place, especially in the turmoilous times that we're in, to have a place to park if we have to. So I think that's as far as I would ever get to a sticks and bricks.
Well, Rady, thank you so very much for sharing your story, your journey with us, and I hope we will. I'm going to stop for well, you know what? You get noise on the road, and you get noise when you're out camping, so
Right.
we're not going to stop because of a little noise. I just want to thank you so much for being willing to be open and share your story. And those of you who have not met Rady, he's with Rady, Traveling with the Graham Cracker. Do check out his YouTube channel, and we will possibly be doing a tour of Rady's rigs at some point, but I just might post a few pictures of it now. But thank you again, Rady, and hopefully we'll catch up with you on the road.
Notice this right here. It's spelled with a K. Graham Cracker with a K.
Okay, Graham Cracker, here it is, Traveling with the Graham Cracker. Thank you so much, Glowbies. Until next time.